Right, it's 21 years now since my dad bought this. And it's 1 year since I parked it up. And I parked it up because there was a problem with the cylinder head and the turbo, or one or the other. But anyway, I had the head re-skimmed, the head's in that plastic bag. The turbo is somewhere, in fact it might be a turbo that's in the plastic, I don't know. It's here somewhere. And it ran a 200 TDI, which dropped straight in there. And I've since, because I've had trouble with this before, I thought, right, I'm going to leave it and just not bother with it. And what I actually ended up doing was acquiring two 2.25 petrol engines, which is the actual engine that should be in that when it was new. So one of them's on there, and then the other one's down here. That one on the trailer is absolutely knackered. It's been relined and it's had all sorts of problems, and it's worn out basically. This one's seized, but I intend to free it off, which is why there's gunk in the bores there. Hone the bores out, because the bores aren't actually that bad. Re-ring it, re-shell it, and run it. The head's already gone off to be looked at. Now everything that got removed off of this thing over the last 21 years has actually been saved. But we've got a couple of extras here as well. We've got a inlet manifold for a SU carburetor, so that's going to go on in place of the Zenith. We've got the battery tray, which had to come out to get the 200 in, and also we've got the battery carrier and bracket and all this and that and wherever. I've got a selection of choke cables because I want a proper Rover choke pull on it, and also the choke light switch, the choke warning light switches are on there as well. So we've got all that. So looking underneath now, obviously this has sat for a year. It's been inside all this time. We're going to need to replumb the fuel system because this is running a 2-line system, a feed and a return. We're going to have to replumb all that. I know the fuel tank has got a full tank of diesel in it, so that needs addressing. That's going to have to be drained, possibly flushed. And we've got a bit of trouble up here, but we'll just pretend we've not seen that. And then, so we're going to have to replumb the fuel lines. Yeah, just one fuel line. We do away with that filter that's hanging nicely there, that can go. We're also going to change the exhaust system from this Steve Parker kit to a standard exhaust, which is no real issue. I'm just curious as to how this tank is held on, because I can't quite remember. I seem to remember it being a major operation, but anyway, that's going to come anyway. So we've got quite a bit of rust under here that's gathered, but anyway, we shall have to see. Oh, we've got more chassis trouble up here, look. So the chassis is definitely going to want some looking at, as it has been galvanised, because we did it and it's split all along there, look. I actually knew the chassis was going to be a bit questionable. There's the turbo, look. But anyway, that's another problem for another day. Basically, we're gonna change. We're gonna fit the 2.25 petrol. We've got to get it MOT'd. Obviously, it's been sat for over a year. We've got to get it road legal, and we've got. How long have we got? We've got 3 weeks to get this done. So, first job's going to be, I think, we'll do the fuel system, get that right, and then we'll get the engine rebuilt, get that dropped in, and then it should be pretty much plain sailing from there. We need to look at the chassis, just remember that. So let's jump straight into this. So as mentioned, we're going to jump straight into this 2 days later. Right, I've not really got off to a very good start, but this is now tacked in place. All I need to do now is yes, I've gone to the effort of saving this because I thought it might need to go back in one day, but I've lost that bit there. So my next job is going to be bend a bit up, probably. I'll have another look, see if I can find it, but I've not had any luck yet. Get that in, and I can get the battery carrier frame bolted in place after that's been welded and painted. And then we can proceed with the electrics. Right, so I've ended up making a bit up to go in there, which I'm going to do in a minute. But at the minute I'm just welding these back, the back legs in place. Now I've got no idea where to put this camera because obviously welding galvanised, you need extraction equipment, and you need an air-fed mask, both of which I've got, and I'm choosing not to use them at this moment. I think that'll do. That is on. Right, I'm going to have a mess around with that front leg, and then we will continue with the project. Right, I've got this battery tray back in place. Air filter bracket's part of that. I've got the 2 bolts in place for the starter solenoid. I can't fit that yet because I found a problem with it. But this is back on, 4 6mm bolts. Does that job nicely. What I'm going to do next is go to the back of the vehicle. I can't do the electrics because of no solenoid, so I'm going to get one of those from somewhere, and then I'm going to go to the back of the vehicle and start the fuel system. Is sort the fuel system. I was looking at some pictures this morning. The fuel tank's under here, by the way, if you didn't know. I was looking at some pictures this morning, and I think I've got a massive problem in the sense of where the pipes go into the tank. So I am going to remove these 2 inspection plates. I haven't seen the top of this tank since 2011, so I don't know what I'm going to find. It's rather difficult. Back in a sec. So having checked the photo album this morning, there is a pipe that goes from this side of the tank to this side of the tank, which we are going to reveal now, and that is that pipe there. This one here goes to the filler neck, and that is your air out pipe. So under this one we have the sender unit. It's not as bad as I expected it to be. So we can see under here we have the return pipe, which I think you'll find my dad made the fitting for that one, and you have the pickup pipe, which is the original brass one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unbolt that, unbolt it, take it off, take the fitting out of there. That looks like a gas, I don't know. But anyway, he made that, whatever that fitting might be. That is definitely the feed pipe because it's blue, and I'm going to replace these pipes with brass pipes. But first, before I do that, I need to drain off the tank, which I think currently has about, or at least 3/4 of a tank of diesel. Right, so I'm back up on the top side of the vehicle now, looking at the fuel tank from the top. I'm going to remove this fitting, which is the return line. And I'm thinking, if I am extremely lucky, which never, I was wondering about making this the actual feed line. Oh, even the screws have come undone. Never known it before. Make that the feed line, and then blank off the current feed. But I think I'm pushing my luck to do that. So I'm going to do the right thing and not do that, and then just blank this one off, because that makes less sense. But yes, we have removed successfully the return fitting. I mean, obviously I'm filming just my hand there. So this is what my dad made, and that must be how much fuel was in it. So it actually had less than half a tank, I imagine. So I was wrong. Try not to let any gunk go down inside there, but obviously a bit just did, so that's obviously the end of that. So I have here a blanking plate that comes with new tanks. New tanks come with both blanking plates, so that's why we have an abundance of them. And I'm just going to screw that back in. These screws look like BA thread size. So obviously I just failed before. I'm now using my left hand. The power of the wrong hand. Oh, wow. I should use my left hand more often. Sorry, wrong hand. So, just got one more to get in there. Then I'll get the screwdriver, send them all the way. So I've already cracked that fitting off. It would have made so much more sense to remove that fitting and then have this one as the feed. But beggars can't be choosers. I do not want to drop this tank at any cost whatsoever. I've noticed that there is a gap there, and it just gives you here, look. It just gives you that little bit of clearance just to get the spanner in there to do a full turn. I can't even turn that yet. This has been on here since 2010, I think. This tank went in here. The tank went in before this body went on, and that's partially why I'm worried about removing the tank, because obviously with no body on it was considerably easier to get the tank in place, because it was just simply, oh, we'll put the tank in. But now you've got all the rest of the floor basically preventing such a job taking place. Why is that so tight? Anyway, I'm going to come back in a minute because this is going to take forever. Right, we are going to drain the fuel tank. So I've got 3 jerry cans and my trusty plastic tank. I also have a funnel. Country's cheapest diesel left. I bet I paid $1.40 a litre for this 12 months ago. I don't know how much I paid for it, I just put it in. There's a chance there's diesel bug in here, so I'm going to do the right thing and put it straight into the forklift. Come on, there we go, look. I don't want diesel all over my floor, and it's now very valuable stuff. I'm getting splashed. There we go, look. Right, so, oh, I've got diesel in my eye. Right, so the next job is to remove the exhaust. I've already been spannering on that, but this one is going to get ground off if I can get up here without banging my head, which I just did. So I've just rigged up a simple little test here. Battery, I call this my power probe. So you've got positive and negative. Connect the earth to the solenoid. So on the actuator, lights up green, and we get a click when we energise it. So that is ready to go on. Right, not a lot has happened really for the last couple of hours. I've got the pipe provisionally in place here for the fuel. That's going up through the chassis in that gap there, and then it's going to do a sharp 90-degree up onto the top there. I just want another clip on there, and then it's going to go forward to the front of the vehicle, which I'll show you in a minute. Right, back up on the top side of this. So now we need to feed that pipe there across the top of the chassis, if we've got room, and through onto the engine bay side. As mentioned, I've put the battery in, just for now, just make it look like I've done something. And then the pipe's going to come out so far, have a flexible fitting, and then into the fuel pump, which is going to fit roughly where my finger is pointing. So today we've partially done the fuel system. Can't really go that much further with it. We've still got the electrics to do. All the glow plugs wiring that needs to be removed, which is all this bit here. That's the feed for the glow plugs, if I remember right. And then we need to just address all of that, get a starter solenoid from somewhere. But I think the next job will be stripping the engine and getting that ready for the new parts to go inside it. Also tomorrow I may fit part of the exhaust, because I don't see any reason why that can't go on. So that's me for now. Back tomorrow. Well, it's bright, but not very early. In fact, it's mid-afternoon. This morning, I did manage to get the exhaust provisionally loosely bolted in place. All that needs sort of setting up and tightening up, just to make sure it's not obviously resting on the chassis. One thing I did do with this was to just spray it in high temperature paint. And the reason for why that is, it's not a stainless steel system. I would have bought a stainless steel one had I afforded to be able to do that, but at the minute I just want to get it sort of running again. This paint, for how much it costs, you might get another 3 or 4 weeks, days, minutes extended onto the life of the exhaust, because obviously all your welded joints have no paint on, and it is just a mild steel system. Over here I've just collected a engine stand, so my next job will be to strip the engine and put new bits in it. That's basically it.